Chapter 1. Do you truly exist? The illusion of reality. Just think, what if the breath you are taking right now isn't even yours? What if this room, this phone, your memories, were all just a momentary illusion? What if you were the only thing that existed in this entire universe, and everything else was merely a figment of your own loneliness? A silent beginning. Sometimes in the silence of the night, when the world falls asleep, a strange question knocks from within. Who am I? We feel as though we have a history, a childhood. We've been hurt, and we've loved. We are certain that we are on a planet called Earth, orbiting the sun. But in the 19th century, a man named Ludwig Boltzmann left behind a mathematical crack that shook the very foundations of humanity. He suggested that all of this, the entire universe, the stars, the galaxies, might just be one massive accident. And an even greater accident than that is your own mind. The bitter truth of statistics. Imagine a giant box filled with millions of scattered letter tiles. If you shake the box and throw them on the floor, what are the odds that those letters will spontaneously form a complete book by Shakespeare? The probability is nearly zero, but it is not zero. If you keep trying for an infinite amount of time, there will eventually be a moment where those letters land perfectly to tell a complete story. Our universe is much the same. Physics tells us that the universe always moves toward disorder, entropy. But Boltzmann argued that if time is infinite, then somewhere in space, particles will eventually collide in such a precise way that they create order. Now, here is the real twist. Creating an entire world is incredibly difficult, but for the universe, creating a single, lone brain is much easier and cheaper. Self-aware trash. A Boltzmann brain isn't a brain made of flesh and bone. It is a sudden fluctuation. In the vacuum of space, atoms suddenly bond to create a pattern that thinks exactly like a human. That brain already contains all those false memories. It feels like it just drank a cup of tea. It feels like it has a family. It feels like it is reading this article. But in reality, that brain is floating in the deep vacuum of space, and in the next instant, it will dissolve. It had no past, and it will have no future. The fear of science and humanity, when we think deeply about this, it chills us to the bone. Are we the one writing this and you reading it, just floating brains born for a mere second? Did our yesterday ever even exist? Science gives us logic, but the Boltzmann brain gives us existential dread. This idea strips us of our identity. If we follow the math, the probability is much higher that you are a Boltzmann brain rather than a real human being, formed by billions of years of evolution. A strange comfort, but there is a human side to this as well. Even if we assume for a moment that we are Boltzmann brains, think of how lucky we are. In this infinite darkness, for just one tiny moment, particles came together to give you the power to feel yourself and to ask questions. This chapter is only the beginning of the fog. In the next chapters, we will learn how science fights this terrifying truth and how our universe reassures us that we are real. Chapter 2. The web of chaos, entropy, and the flow of time, the one-way street. Have you ever wondered why a cup of tea grows cold, but a cold cup of tea never spontaneously heats itself back up? Or why a shattered glass never pulls its pieces together to become a window again? The answer is hidden in the law of the universe that both creates us and destroys us. The cruelest law of the cosmos. Our universe has a master, and its name is entropy. In simple terms, it means disorder. This law states that everything moves from a state of order toward a state of chaos. Your room can get messy on its own, but it will never clean itself. Iron can rust, but rust can never turn back into iron on its own. The universe prefers messiness or disorder. When the universe was born, it was highly compact and organized. But since then, it has been constantly expanding and falling into a state of decay. Ludwig Boltzmann was a genius, but his own thoughts kept him restless throughout his life. He asked, if the universe is constantly decaying into chaos, how did organized beings like us come to exist? We are incredibly complex. Our bodies, our eyes, our minds, we are the peak of order. Boltzmann proposed an idea that seemed like nonsense to scientists at the time. He said that if you fill a sealed room with gas and wait for trillions of years, there will eventually be a moment where those gas particles purely by accident and sheer coincidence will gather in a corner and form a shape. It is like throwing a deck of cards into the air and having them land on the floor to form a magnificent castle. It sounds impossible, right? But mathematics says that if you throw those cards an infinite number of times, at least once, a castle will form. The small accident versus the massive accident. This is where Boltzmann delivered his most lethal argument. He said that the coincidental formation of an entire world, the sun, the moon, the earth, and billions of people is extremely difficult. It requires too much energy and too much perfect synchronization. But for a single human brain to spontaneously form in deep space is much easier than forming an entire world. Think of it like this: if you want to win the lottery, matching just one number is easy, but matching all 7 is nearly impossible. For the universe, creating a brain with all your memories is like matching that one number. Creating the entire world is like matching all 7. The illusion of memory. This is the point where your existence and mine are called into question. The Boltzmann brain theory suggests that, according to statistics, there should be far more fluctuation brains in the universe than actual humans. This means there is a 99.9% chance that you are not a real human being. You are just a statistical accident. Your mother's face, your first bicycle, that old song you love, all of these exist in your mind only. Chapter 3. The silence of eternity, the infinite void, the burden of infinite time. What is time? The ticking of a clock, or a river that just keeps flowing. For a human, time is their lifespan. But for the universe, time is an ocean with no shore. And it is this very lack of a shore that has trapped us in the cage of the Boltzmann brain. A human life lasts barely 70 or 80 years. To us, a century is a long time, and a millennium is history. But the universe is 13.8 billion years old, and that is just the beginning. Scientists believe the future of the universe stretches for trillions upon quadrillions of years. When we use the word infinite, our minds cannot truly grasp it. Infinite means that which never ends. And this is where Boltzmann's mathematics strikes its most lethal blow. When everything ends, the universe we see today is filled with the light of stars. But in the future, there will come a time that scientists call heat death. Every star will burn out. Every galaxy will drift so far apart that nothing but darkness will remain. The universe will become completely cold and empty. You might think, if everything is gone, then the story is over. But it isn't. Boltzmann argued that even in that infinite darkness and void, tiny particles, atoms, and electrons will continue to bump into one another. Because time is infinite, the probability for anything to happen exists. When the impossible becomes real, consider this example. If you have a monkey and a typewriter, and that monkey keeps hitting keys for an infinite amount of time, eventually one day that monkey will type out the works of Shakespeare or the great epics. Why? Because there is no limit on time. In that same way, in the darkness of an empty universe, after trillions of years pass, a cluster of atoms will suddenly form that becomes for 1 second your brain. A brain that thinks exactly what you are thinking right now. A brain that feels as though it is sitting down and reading something on a phone. Why can't we be real? Here, Boltzmann asks a very piercing question. He says that the probability of an ordered universe like ours forming is extremely low. However, the probability of a single, lone brain appearing in an empty universe is much higher. This means that if we were born randomly anywhere in time, the odds are far greater that we would be a Boltzmann brain in that empty, dark void rather than a human being in this beautiful, decorated world. The ache of existence, imagine the brain suddenly waking up in the silence of eternity. It has the memory of its mother's lullaby, the feeling of its first love, the scent of rain on dry earth. But as it tries to open its eyes, it realizes it has no body, no eyes, and no world. It is simply a thought floating in the vacuum, and before it can even scream, it dissolves. Are you that scream? Is this world of yours just the final dream of a dissolving mind? Chapter 4. The fraud of memory, the illusion of memory, memories, reality, or a dance of neurons. Do you remember your 5th birthday, or the first time you fell in love? We believe our memories are proof of our existence. But what if I told you that memories aren't pictures of a past that actually happened, but merely a chemical explosion occurring in your brain at this very moment? A human being is built from their memories. If all your memories were erased today, you wouldn't know who you are. In scientific terms, memories are nothing more than specific connection synapses between neurons in our brain. Every time you remember something, a tiny pulse of electricity fires and specific chemicals are released. Now, here comes the most terrifying argument of the Boltzmann brain. The fabricated past. If particles of dust and gas in space can suddenly bond to create a brain, they can also arrange themselves into the exact pattern that feels like a memory. This means that while creating the brain, the universe also installed a fake past. There is a famous philosophical theory called last Thursdayism. It suggests that the entire universe might have been created just last Thursday. When it was formed, everything was placed exactly so that it appears billions of years old. The scars on your skin, your old journals, even the memories in your head of what you did last month, everything was planted last Thursday. The Boltzmann brain brings this philosophical idea into the realm of science. It argues that, statistically, it is much easier for a memory to be born that never actually happened. A passenger of a single moment. Suppose you are sitting in a park right now. You remember walking here from your house, but according to the Boltzmann brain theory, you manifested on that park bench just this second. The memories of walking from home are only in your head, because your neurons happen to be set in that specific state. Even as you read this line, your fake past is ending. You have no way to prove that you actually existed even 1 second ago. Are we just a pulse? A normal human brain gathers memories over 70 or 80 years. But a Boltzmann brain might have 80 years worth of memories, while its actual age is only a fraction of a second. It is like a flash of lightning in the depths of the cosmos. It flashes. It contains the sensation of an entire world, and then it vanishes. It is painful to think that the mother you remember, or the friend you want to meet, may never have existed. They might just be part of the cosmic accident that shaped your mind. The loneliness of existence. This is where the theory truly shakes us. If our memories aren't real, what can we trust? If my yesterday is merely a coincidence, what is the value of my today? We view our memories as a thread that connects us to our past. But Boltzmann says there is no thread. There are only beads scattered in the air, and we are simply under the illusion that they form a necklace. Chapter 5. The cosmic lottery. The universe's gamble, the ultimate lucky draw. Have you ever thought about how monumental your birth actually was? One specific sperm out of millions winning the race. Your ancestors surviving every disaster. We like to believe we are the result of a long, deliberate process. But what if all of this is just a lucky draw, and you are the prize that exists for only a fleeting moment? An ocean of probability. The human brain isn't wired to understand large numbers. To us, 100,000 is a big number, 10 million is massive. But when we talk about the universe, the numbers become so vast that you run out of ink before you finish writing the zeros. The particles of the universe are constantly rushing around. There is a branch of physics called statistical mechanics. It states that nothing in the world is truly impossible. Some things are just highly improbable. For example, if you toss a glass of water into the air, it is theoretically possible for every single water molecule to land back in the glass exactly as they were. But the probability is so low that even if the universe ended, it likely wouldn't happen even once. The universe's biggest lottery, this is where Boltzmann's true game begins. The universe essentially had options. Option A, create an entire universe, the Big Bang. Galaxies, stars, solar systems, and billions of years of evolution. This is an incredibly difficult and expensive lottery. It requires an immense amount of low entropy. Option B, just a tiny fluctuation, a cluster of particles in some corner of space. That creates a brain for a single second. This option is cheap, and the odds of it happening are far higher than option A. According to mathematics, the probability of option B, the Boltzmann brain, is billions of trillions of times higher than option A, the real world. Are you the victim of the gamble? Think of it like this. If you walk into a room and see a single coin that has landed on heads, you'd say, okay, just a coincidence. But if you see 100 coins and every single one is heads, you'd say, someone must have arranged these. Our universe is like those 100 coins neatly arranged. Boltzmann argues that the probability of this is so low that we shouldn't even believe we are part of such an ordered universe. Instead, we should believe that we are those 1 or 2 coins in a dark, empty room that just happened to land on heads by pure chance. The noise of existence, our existence, is like a gamble where nothing was wagered, but the outcome is everything. The cosmic lottery of the Boltzmann brain tells us that we might just be a glitch, much like sudden static appearing in the middle of a radio song and then vanishing. Your existence and mine are just noise in the middle of infinite silence. It is strange to think that what we call our hard work, history, and progress might just be a lottery ticket that was never even officially printed. A terrifying question. If you won a lottery where the prize was a human life, but that prize only belonged to you for a single second, would you still want to win? A Boltzmann brain is exactly that, a winning prize that expires before it can even celebrate its victory. Chapter 6. The cage of consciousness, the world's largest prison. The world's largest prison isn't made of iron bars. It is built from your own sensations. You can see, hear, and feel. But what if these senses, instead of showing you the truth, are locking you inside a beautiful cage? The heavy sensation of being consciousness is the greatest unsolved mystery in science. Electricity pulses between neurons, chemicals collide, and suddenly you wake up. You feel pain. You feel love. The most tragic part of the Boltzmann brain is that it isn't unconscious. It is fully self-aware. It has the capacity to think. When cosmic particles formed the brain, they didn't just create a mannequin, they gave it the power to feel. The walls of the cage. Imagine you are locked in a pitch-black room, blindfolded. You hear birds chirping in your ears, feel a cool breeze on your face, and hold someone's hand in yours. You would swear you were in a garden, but as soon as the blindfold is removed, you see there is no garden, no birds, and no other person. You are sitting alone in a cold, iron room. For a Boltzmann brain, its consciousness is the blindfold. Its awareness tells it, I am here. I have a body. I am breathing. But in reality, it has no lungs, no heart, and no ground beneath it. It is merely a thought born in the void, the ultimate loneliness. Humans fear loneliness more than almost anything, but the loneliness of a Boltzmann brain is beyond human comprehension. It is the only thing in the entire universe. Its consciousness has constructed an imaginary world around it just to endure the silence. Is everything you see right now the noise of the street, the hum of the fan, the chatter of people lonely there because your mind fears that silent cage? Did your consciousness create all of this just to keep you from going insane? The deception of awareness. The famous philosopher René Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. But Boltzmann would laugh at that. He would say that your thinking is not proof that you are real. Your thinking is only proof that electricity is flowing through you. A Boltzmann brain also thinks, I am. But it is wrong. It doesn't exist. It is simply happening. It is a process, not a person. The way out. The biggest question of this chapter is, if we are trapped in the cage of consciousness, can we ever escape? Will we ever truly know if what we see is reality or just a cosmic dream? Perhaps not, because the very thing that is looking is the deception itself. Chapter 7. When science fails, the collapse of logic, the glitch in the system. Imagine you are a scientist who spends your entire life discovering the laws of the universe. But in the end, you realize that your discoveries, your laws, and your very existence are nothing more than a glitch. Would you still trust that science, the foundation of science, observation? What is science built upon? It stands on what we see, what we measure, and what we observe. We say gravity is real because we've seen the apple fall. We say the Big Bang happened because we've heard its echo in the depths of space. But the Boltzmann brain says, wait, you haven't seen anything. If you are a Boltzmann brain, then everything you have ever measured or seen is an illusion manufactured by your mind. Your telescopes, your data, your laboratories, it is all part of a split-second explosion. This means your entire understanding of science is a fraud. Cosmic instability scientists hate this theory. Why? Because if we accept the idea of the Boltzmann brain, science becomes suicidal. Think of it this way. Science runs on logic. Logic dictates that whatever is most probable should be accepted as truth. And as we saw in the previous chapters, mathematically, it is far more probable that we are Boltzmann brains. But if we accept this, we lose trust in our own reasoning. In physics, there is a term called cognitive instability. It refers to a theory that ends up proving itself wrong. If science tells us that the odds of being a Boltzmann brain are higher, then it is also telling us that what we observe is a lie. And if what we observe is a lie, then the very science that told us this is also a lie. It is a loop with no exit. The desperation of scientists, modern cosmologists, like Sean Carroll, are working day and night to solve this problem. They are trying to build cosmic models where Boltzmann brains simply cannot form. They want to prove that our universe is either too small or evolving too fast for these floating minds to ever have the time to manifest. They are trying to escape the infinite because the infinite is the demon that gives birth to this delusion, a defeat in the search for truth. This chapter leaves us at a bitter crossroads. Science, which promised to lead us from darkness into the light, has brought us to a point where it is forced to deny itself. Will we ever truly know anything? Or are we just trying to light a candle in a darkness where the candle itself is nothing but a shadow? Chapter 8 is God a brain? The divine perspective, the ancient dream. The ancient scriptures say that this world is merely a dream of the Creator, Brahma. When he wakes, our existence will vanish. Is it possible that this thousands of years old belief and the modern Boltzmann brain are two sides of the same coin? Is the universe itself just a thought? When science and faith collide, science and religion are often seen as enemies. But on the subject of the Boltzmann brain, they seem to be sailing in the same boat. In ancient Indian philosophy, there is a word, Maya. Maya refers to that which is not, yet appears to be. The Boltzmann brain says the exact same thing. Your world is Maya. The only difference is that religion calls it the play of a spiritual power, while science calls it a cruel statistical accident. Is the universe self-aware? Some thinkers go even further. They suggest that if particles in space combine to create a human mind, isn't it possible that the entire universe itself is one massive Boltzmann brain? Look at this through the lens of panpsychism. Perhaps the stars, galaxies, and black holes are like neurons, and this entire cosmos is part of a singular, vast consciousness. If that is true, then we are merely tiny thoughts flickering inside the giant mind. We aren't thinking, we are being thought. The loneliness of God. What is the greatest tragedy of a Boltzmann brain? It's loneliness. It wakes up alone in the void of eternity. Now, recall the stories that say in the beginning, there was only one, and it divided itself into many just to feel something. Is it possible that the lone Boltzmann brain is God, who, to escape the madness of infinite silence, imagine all of us, our memories, and this entire world, He created us so that in that eternal stillness, he would have someone to call his own, even if that someone is just an illusion, the creator or the creation. A massive paradox arises here. Is the mind creating the universe? Or is the universe creating the mind? If you are a Boltzmann brain, you are the god of this universe because this entire world exists inside you. Without you, this world has no existence. Well, look at the irony. You are a helpless god who will dissolve in a second, buried along with your own creation. The last thread of faith this chapter forces us to ask, what is truth? Is truth what we see outside, or what we feel within? Thousands of years ago, sages proclaimed, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the absolute truth. I am God. If we look closely at Boltzmann's mathematics, this begins to feel real. If you are the only thing in that void, then you are everything. You are the creator, and you are the creation. Chapter 9. The infinite loop, the multiverse connection, a final hope for escape. What if our universe isn't the only one, but just a tiny fragment of billions upon billions of universes? Like a single ripple in a vast ocean. Could the idea of the multiverse finally liberate us from the dread of being a lone floating brain, the factory versus the accident? For the past 8 chapters, we have lived with one fear that being a human is an impossible fluke, while being a Boltzmann brain is a statistical certainty. Scientists tremble at this thought too. To escape it, they proposed a new path, the multiverse. They argue that if there is only one universe, statistics will inevitably turn us into Boltzmann brains. But if there are infinite universes constantly being born, a concept called eternal inflation, the story changes. Think of it this way. If you see a shiny car on a deserted road, you wouldn't assume it formed by accident. You'd assume it was made in a factory where thousands of cars are produced. The multiverse is the factory. If nature has a mechanism that constantly churns out new universes, then the number of real universes could be massive. If the real-world factories are productive enough, they will eventually outnumber the Boltzmann brain accidents. Only then could we proudly say, yes, I am real, because I am part of a system designed to create billions like me. The danger of the loop, but as much comfort as the multiverse provides, it is equally dangerous. If there are infinite universes, then everything that can happen must happen. There would be a universe where you are a king, and another where you are floating in the air this very second. And the most terrifying part, there would be universes filled with nothing but Boltzmann brains. Billions of minds waking up together in the dark and vanishing together in an instant. The choice is yours. The multiverse gives us a choice. Either we believe we are part of a vast, organized machine, or we accept that we are just the trash random fluctuations of an infinite cosmos. Some scientists argue that our universe is young, and a young universe. There simply hasn't been enough time for Boltzmann brains to form. It's like eating a fruit before it has a chance to rot. Perhaps our universe is so new that real humans are currently the majority, and the harvest of floating brains hasn't yet begun. Are we just data? Modern physics suggests the entire universe might be a hologram or a simulation. If so, the Boltzmann brain is just a coding error, a bug in the system. In this endless web of the multiverse, we are searching for a piece of data to prove that our consciousness isn't a fluke. But the truth remains. The multiverse theory is still only on paper. We are imagining a larger cage just to escape the one we are in. Chapter 10. The triumph of humanity, the final awakening, the victory within the illusion. At the start of this journey, we doubted ourselves. We denied our memories and witnessed the failure of science. But is surrender our only end? Or is our true victory hidden right here, in the middle of this illusion? The search for truth. In all the cosmos, humans are the only beings who have looked up and asked, why am I here? The Boltzmann brain theory terrifies us because it leaves us alone. It tells us we have no history and no future. But wait for just one moment. If I am a Boltzmann brain, and so are you, so what? In this very second, as you hear these words and I feel them, we are connected. Even if all of this is a dream, it is the most beautiful dream ever told. Love, pain, and reality of floating mind in space might be a mathematical certainty. But it cannot understand love. It cannot shed tears and pain. It cannot risk its life for someone else. Whether we are real or not doesn't depend on how many years we live. It depends on how we live. If in the billions of years of cosmic silence, even for just 1 second, we held each other's hands, then that 1 second is more precious than all of eternity. A personal journey, my friends. These mysteries, black holes, white holes, and Boltzmann brains, they aren't just scientific topics. They are our shared search for meaning. Through this channel, I don't just want to share information. I want to reach the truth that makes us one. This is only my second video, and the support you've shown on this short journey has convinced me that I am not alone. We are all made of stardust, and perhaps, together, we are the mind of the universe. If today's journey touched a corner of your heart, if you felt that in this vast darkness, we are all searching for the same light, then become a part of this channel. This isn't just a video, it's a family where we will unlock the deepest secrets of the universe together. Subscribe and walk this path with me. We've only just touched the shore. The entire ocean still awaits us. Perhaps the sun won't rise tomorrow. Perhaps we truly are Boltzmann brains about to dissolve into the void. But as long as we are here, we are alive. And the greatest proof of being alive is to keep learning and to keep asking questions. I will see you in the next video with a new mystery and a new story. Until then, take care of yourself and keep thinking, because your thoughts are your very existence.